All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're continuing with section 5.3 involving factoring. Our next example, we're given an expression 5 quantity x minus 1 minus 2x quantity x minus 1. Now, very important thing to know. When you see a minus inside, when you see a plus or minus inside parens, that does not count as a new term. But when you see this minus outside of parens, that means you're going from one term to another. So this original expression has two terms. 5 quantity x minus 1 is the first. Opposite of 2x times x minus 1 is the second. There are two terms. When you look at both terms, the greatest common factor that you are able to take out of both terms is the x minus 1. We pull it in front in parens. Those parens are very important. Parens, the little wall, I call it the grouping wall because it means multiplication. When I pull out the x minus 1, what's left over? Well, in the front we have a 5, in the back we have an opposite of 2x. I put the 5 minus 2x in safety nets, and we've got it made. Now, the next expression has four terms. 4x cubed plus 3x squared plus 8x plus 6. When I'm factoring an expression that has four terms in it, the first thing I look for is a greatest common factor, but in this case the greatest common factor is just a 1. That's the largest thing that could pull out of all four terms. So what's the next step? When you see four terms, we're going to think of this process called factoring by grouping, which means you take the two terms in the front and then you take the two terms in the back and you factor them separately, and then at the end you finish. Well, when I group the first two terms together, I'm able to take out an x squared, leaving me with 4x plus 3 in safety nets. When I look at the back two terms, the 8x plus 6, I'm able to pull out a positive 2. That leaves me with 4x plus 3 in parens, which is multiplication. This plus in the middle means we're not done. You can't have a plus that's free. It's got to be inside parens. But if you look at your two terms, you'll notice that 4x plus 3 is in each of them. So that becomes our GCF. I like to put the GCF in front. So I have 4x plus 3 in safety nets, in parens, and that in what's left over when I pull that out would be x squared plus 2. That also has to go in safety nets, or in parens. Oh, went too far, sorry about that. Let me scroll down a little bit slower here. Here we go for our last two problems on this movie. 6x cubed minus 15x squared minus 4x plus 10. First thing we look for is a GCF, but the GCF here is a 1, meaning let's just go to factoring by grouping. Here's what I want you to get in your head. Four terms, look for the GCF, but if all it is a 1, then the next thing you're going to do is go to grouping. Group them by 2s, the first two and the last two. When I group the first two, I pull out a 3x squared. That leaves me with 2x minus 5 in safety nets. When I go to the next two, here's a very important thing to notice. The minus 4x plus 10 begins with a negative. And remember what I said earlier. When an expression starts with a negative, your GCF has to be a negative. So we don't pull out a positive 2, we pull out a negative 2. In parens, that leaves me with 2x minus 5. Very coincidentally, the 2x minus 5's match. You pull it out one time because it's the GCF, and that leaves you with 3x squared minus 2. One question my students ask me in class is sometimes they'll say to me, I got the 2x minus 5 in the back and I got the 3x squared minus 2 in the front. Is that okay? Sure, as long as they're in parens, it doesn't matter because you're multiplying. I mean, think about it in arithmetic. What's the difference between 7 times 4 and 4 times 7? So the order you put something in multiplication does not matter. What matters is the parens, because it has to be multiplication. And my final example on this page, ax plus bx minus ay minus by. Step 1, look for the GCF, but the only GCF is a 1, so that's not very helpful. Step number 2. All right? Step number 2. When I see 4 terms, I think factoring by grouping. ax plus bx, what can I pull out? The GCF is an x. In parens I have a plus b, quantity. Next part. The GCF looks like it's a y, but because the expression started with a negative, we make it the opposite of y. And in parens, for it to turn into what we need it to, that would be an a plus b. Now the a plus b's match. That's our greatest common factor. It goes out in front in parens. We're left over with an x minus y in the back in parens. So our answer is a plus b, and when I say quantity, I mean in parens multiplied by quantity x minus y. Same comment applies as I made earlier. If you have them in the reverse order, where x minus y is in the front and a plus b is in the back, you still have the correct answer.